Good afternoon, everybody. This is Pimlico Racetrack in Baltimore, Maryland. We are 40 minutes away from post time for the running of the Preakness, the second and richest jewel in racing's Triple Crown. It's a beautiful day here in Baltimore right now. Sunny, about 70 degrees, and the track is fast. You're looking at the infield. A record crowd has come into this old racetrack today to see this running of the Preakness. And it has been a carnival atmosphere here with many different kinds of bands and music and games. It's noisy and fun and frolic time here. Beyond the grandstand, however, in the barn area, things are a bit more quiet. This is Secretariat, of course, the favorite in this race. As we look at him in his barn, he's getting ready now to make the walk across to the saddling area. One barn has housed all of the contenders in this Preakness, and although 6 of them are going to the gate today, most people here figured it's a match race between this horse, Secretariat, who had such a brilliant Derby, setting a new record for that classic race, and the second in the Derby, Sham, who, of course, in finishing second, also broke the old Derby tie. I'm Jack Whitaker, along with Haywood Hale Broon and Dick Anderson and Frank Wright. We welcome you to the 98th running of the Preakness. From the Pimlico Racecourse in Baltimore, Maryland, CBS Television Sports presents the 98th running of the Preakness, second jewel of the Triple Crown of racing.
On Preakness Day, when the black-eyed Susans are in a sort of bloom, there begin to arrive the constructors of what will be a small city. Looking like so many hermit crabs, the fans pour through the gates laden with everything needed to sustain life of a limited but lively sort. They're heading for the infield, and they are coming not so much to see a horse race as to be a part of the event, to cheer what they hope is happening on the outskirts of their pleasure town. In the event of change in the weather, there are a variety of shields against misfortune. Some almost fairly to be described by the old resort come-on of a home away from home. Some obviously intended to be no more than a rallying place, but all erected and occupied with the marvelous good nature which seems characteristic of the dotted sward of happenings from which one wishes to carry away memories and a ticket stub, as much as an idea or an accurate idea of what happened. Tomorrow there should remain enough crusts and smears to make all the ants for miles around as happy as ants are likely in their duty-driven way ever to be. Just watching the ingestion here is likely to give the more delicate feeder a certain sense of burn among the ribs. There are, of course, games out here which the knobs in the boxes miss. Games ranging from the organized aggressions of lacrosse to the swirling, sloppy, happy choreography of sort of touch, sort of tackle football. For the sedentary, there is the intellectual violence of card games. There is also the game that started all this commotion in the first place, and there are windows for those who prepare to take the results largely on hearsay. Music is everywhere and of almost every kind, chamber groups being rare at racetracks, and the mellow boom of steel bands at one end of the infield is a kind of counterpoint to the pounding soul beat which entertains the fans at the other. Baltimoreans here took time off during the day to honor their departing quarterback, number 19, John Unitas, whose locker was part of the scene. Waiting overhead was the little man who wears the Preakness winner's colors, and painter Tommy Ennis, who had blue and white paint in his pocket last year for Riva Ridge, has brought the same tubes again in expectation of Secretariat. A wise man, he also has the rest of his palette handy.
Thank you, Woody. And you're looking at the Fort Hunt Senior High School Band from Alexandria, Virginia, the winner of the Preakness Festival Parade, still another musical group gathered here on Preakness Day at Pimlico. The countdown has begun to post time. We have about 32 seconds now until the big event, and we look now at the barn where all of the contenders are kept. peaceful here. Will be beginning to move out of here in just a few moments to make the short walk here at Pimlico into the saddling area. We saddle outside today in the turf course, so we'll all get a good view at the horses and their connections. Here's Chick Anderson now with the rundown of the field.
Well, here's the field for the very important Preakness Stakes today, the second jewel in the Triple Crown. And we have 6 contestants, a good, solid, but small field. Starting with the top horse, number 1 is Sham. And you know that combination from the Derby. Sham will be ridden again today by Lafitte Pincay Jr. And if you're looking for silks on your screen today, look for green and gold. Those are the colors that Sham will be wearing. Following Sham is a horse that's definitely an outsider in this race, Deadly Dream. And Deadly Dream is one of those horses that is not expected to perform too well today, although they have high hopes. Deadly Dream will be wearing primarily black, but look for red and white on the sleeves. Then, the very familiar silks of Secretariat. Secretariat, the dream horse, the $6 million syndication, winner of the Kentucky Derby, and one that most expect to be our next Triple Crown winner. The very familiar blue and white blocks of Meadow Stable for Secretariat, and once again, Ron Turcotte is up. Following Secretariat, we have Our Native. Our Native was third in the Kentucky Derby, and a very strong third, but not a menace to the top 2, Sham and Secretariat. Our Native is primarily black silks. Then following Our Native is Torsion. Torsion is an entry from New York. Torsion, another one of the outsiders, definitely an outsider in the race. And Torsion will be a combination that you'll see on your screen, primarily dark blue. And then the final horse in the field is École Etage. École Etage is a very quick horse, is expected to take the lead in the Preakness today. How far he'll go is, of course, some question. But on your screen, you'll be looking primarily at very light blue with black cross sashes. Well, that's our field in the Preakness today, and we're getting close to post time now.
Well, Frank, as we take a look at the Derby from 2 weeks ago, I think 2 things are apparent here. First, that Sham may have had some real excuses, and secondly, that Secretariat ran a brilliant race. And I think it all began right before the race when one of those strange things that sometimes happens in horse racing occurred.
Jack, it's a terrifying thing to horse rider, assistant starter, and all connections when this occurs. There you see the rider, Santiago, being extricated by an assistant starter, and 1,000 pounds of Twice a Prince reared up with his feet over the stall guard. They're trying to get him so he doesn't fall over backwards and break his back, but in so doing, he takes his front legs and whacks Our Native across the saddle area and the back. Brumfield has had to dismount to quickly save injury to himself. Now the problem, Jack, and they accomplished it, is to open the back gate and get him out without that complete flip over that I mentioned to you, without control. Sham, during this period, remained relatively quiet, Jack, and so did all the horses along the inside, because they know a disturbance is going on. Here is Our Native now, had to be led out the front with Brumfield dismounted. Meanwhile, in the back of the gate, Jack, they will now jog Twice a Prince for the veterinarian, Dr. Larry Scanlon, to okay his continuance in this race. In a moment, the rider, Santiago, will be put on, and he also gets a feeling if there's any unsoundness, he will report it to Dr. Scanlon, and they'll either re-examine or scratch. In this instance, he was deemed sound enough to continue in the race. There's Santiago readjusting his equipment.
Here is the start from head on. That is Sham circled, and watch him get bumped now by the horse to his right, Navajo, and again. He had, at this time already, had those 2 teeth loosened, so he was in pretty bad shape at that point. Here from another angle, the start. And here you will see how Secretariat got away. He is 1A and looks to be dead last at this point.
It was a slow start, Jack. The chart called it 11th, but he was last before they'd gone a few feet.
But now watch the move he puts on. That's Secretariat on the outside and running third. Shecky Green on the rail, number 2, and Sham at this point leading. But watch Secretariat fly.
He comes around the turn on his right lead, Jack, and under the right-hand whipping of Turcotte, he starts in towards his foe. Sham, meantime, under left-hand hitting, is coming out. And you see 2 great human athletes here adjust to avoid collision. Turcotte's stick now in his left hand, and he gets away from Sham.
And now Secretariat makes it all the way as Turcotte looks back and goes on to set a new Kentucky Derby record. Sham, in finishing second, also broke the old Derby record time. Well, that was 2 weeks ago, and as we said earlier, it's come down here today, most people believing that it's going to be a Sham and Secretariat duel once again. Right now, the betting public here have made Secretariat the #1 favorite, Sham second, and Acola Taj will be the 3rd favorite at this moment. We're just about 30 minutes away from post time at this moment. 27 minutes to post time now for the Preakness. The weather has just become as perfect as it's been all day here. And right now, Chick Anderson is on the jockey terrace. Chick?
Well, here comes the man who has a big job today. This is Lafitte Pinkai Jr. Lafitte, you had a trip in the Derby that wasn't perfect, but your horse ran a big race. Do you feel like you can expect the same effort today?
Oh, yes, I do. I'm very confident in my horse. I think he's going to run a terrific race. I really like him today, and I'll be disappointed if he don't win.
Lafitte, what are your feelings about the race and the racetrack? Do you feel like you have to ride a different race here than you did in Louisville?
Well, I don't know. I'm gonna try to play by ear. You know, if I break good, I lay close to the pace. If you don't, well, I lay back. You know, I just gonna play by ear.
We'll have a very good trip.
Okay, thank you
very much. And now here's Ron Turcotte. And Ron is the man with the enviable position of being on Secretariat today. Secretariat was a magnificent horse in the Kentucky Derby. I don't know whether he can improve on that or not. Ronnie, how do you feel?
Well, I just hope you run the same race. You don't need to improve. That was a big race. He's training real good, coming up to it real good.
Ron, the same question that I asked Lafitte. You have a little bit of a different racetrack here, a different surface. The turns are a bit different. Do you feel you have to ride a different sort of race or not?
Well, I don't feel there's that much difference. There's a lot of talk about the turns being so much sharper and all. And it's a mile track, the same as the other, as Churchill Down. And if I'd like to measure from inside rail to inside rail right across, I don't think there's 10 feet difference. So I don't think there's that much difference around the turn.
Now, Ronnie, you were last coming away from the gate. Your horse occasionally shows a habit of not braking real sharply. Do you think in a small field of 6 like this that that's important?
Well, I don't know. We have a long run down the stretch the first time around. You always want your horse to brake good. He always brake with his feel, and I've been letting him pick it up on his own.
Now, your horse has, of course, been here in Baltimore and training for this race. He trained well in Louisville. How would you compare how he's coming to this race as to the Derby?
Well, I feel he's trained better here for this race than he did in Louisville.
So you expect him to do better than he did in Louisville?
Well, if he can do as good, that's fine with me.
This is Ron Turcotte. A big job, Ron. Have a happy journey. And now, here is Haywood Hale-Broon.
Well, as often is the case when you are dealing with reality, reality doesn't play as it should. The horses aren't here yet. You will see that there is a crowd almost as large as on the other side of the racetrack all around us. As Frank just pointed out rather oddly, the valets have arrived with the gear even before the horses have. The valets are those dedicated men who know everything, keep secrets, know just what kind of saddle, just what to do. They're here. Owners are here. Frank, there is one horse way in back of us somewhere, isn't there?
Yes, Deadly Dream is here, Woody. He got here 5 or 6 minutes ago and seems to be handling the situation very well. This lateness may be a moment upset to us in the broadcasting business, but the later they arrive, the better the trainers like it. As you know, Woody, sometimes they risk fine to get their charges here late. That isn't the case today, but...
You were talking to Deadly Dreams trainer Henry Worcester. I think you pointed out he'd been to a dozen racetracks. That's maybe why he isn't so nervous here. Here they are now in back of us, coming across the track and about to come into us now are the contestants. Frank, and you have the keen eye. Who is this first one coming to us in back of us over here?
I can't see through the crowd, Woody.
I see. Now, here
I see he has rundown bandages, and I'll sure make note to discuss that with his good trainer. He's a bay colt. It could very well be the great Sham coming here.
If it is... No, that's number 5. That's no. Torsion, one of the long
bay
shots.
Colt of Johnny Campos' chart.
Going by. And each of them has, as you see, a sort of huge yellow sponge which carries out the black-eyed Susan, the black and yellow colors motif, which is part of the race. And now here is Sham is standing there, looking lovely. I think we should go over there. Now, do you know? Yes, here he is. And now I'll let Frank take over here and ask the expert questions if there are expert questions to be asked. Go ahead, Frank.
Frank, what can I do but compliment you? He's a fabulous-looking horse, a perfect horse minus 2 teeth.
Thank you,
You
Frank.
showed me that this morning, the missing teeth. Do you think they'll bother him at all today?
No, I don't think so.
Well, it seems to have healed well. I hope not too, Frank. I wish you a speedy journey.
He's doing too good to bother nothing. I don't think nothing's going to bother.
He looks fabulous, Frank. All 4 of those bandages will be removed. He runs in no bandage.
I don't want no bend at all. Just a deep bit and a close blanket.
If someone will come and look at me here, I have a man who looks very calm. This is Sigmund Sommer, who owns Sham, is perfectly calm except for a faint beating of perspiration, which I guess your horse has
nervous at this point.
Good luck to you, sir. Shall we? Now they are putting the saddle on Deadly Dream, the one who got here first, and that's trainer Henry Worcester behind over there doing the saddling. And
You'll notice here, Woody, that there's 2 girths put on a horse. A regular girth and an over girth for extra security on race horses. And it's, of course, pulled tight now by trainer Henry Worcester on the near or left side of the horse. Henry told us last night that this horse uses a tongue tie. And if good cameraman Bob Dunn can get in here close, I think we'll get a chance to see him tie down the tongue. He's going to put his blinkers on first.
These are the kind of semi-blinkers, are they?
Well described, Woody. That's the semi-cup, opposed to the French or wide-open cup or the full cup that Sham runs in. This is what you might call Metza blinker.
I see.
If we can linger here a minute, I think Henry's going to tie a tongue for us. There it is.
Yeah.
You'll notice it's about a 10 or 12-inch piece of cloth, and he wraps it around the tongue and ties the tongue to the bottom of the mouth, preventing it from getting...
That's quite humane for anybody.
Of course it is. It's very soft and it's hospital type of cloth. And what it does, actually, that's so humane, Woody, it prevents the bit from getting under the tongue to the equally tender part of the mouth, as if you were have some steel under your tongue.
Well, at this moment, that would be a bad idea. I think we should probably now move on to Secretariat, who is surrounded by so many people that we may have a little trouble bustling through. I do see his familiar blue and white colors there, and Lucian Lauren is in a brave red coat, having nothing to do with the colors, and now putting on his blinkers.
He's putting semi-cups on, too.
Frank, as soon as he finishes the important part here, perhaps you can engage Lucian for a moment or so. He looks a picture, doesn't he? Isn't his conformation almost perfect?
He's a very handsome horse. Very handsome horse.
What is his single flaw?
I suppose that slope in his rump there, that goose rump defect from the point of his croup. But it's being very picayunish to pick on such a magnificent-looking animal, Woody. Lucian, congratulations the way he looks.
Thank you very much.
I wish you and I looked that well. He's a handsome horse.
Isn't he a wonderful looking horse?
Oh, just fabulous. It's not bothering him much, just lively enough. Don't you think, this outdoor paddock?
Yeah, I think it's wonderful. I think it's better than the inside even.
And there's nowhere for a horse to get hurt. There's no constricting steel or wood. I like it a lot, and I know you do.
I do. I think it's a wonderful thing. It's, like I said, it's nice and quiet, and you got much more room out here, so I think they settle down a little more, you know?
The best of luck to you there.
Thank you very much.
Come here, I have Mrs. Tweedy here with me, the owner of Secretary, and I have to ask you, those are sort of stable colors. Is this a lucky dress?
Well, I don't know. It's new. We're trying it on for size.
And the gold pin, is that since the Derby?
No, the gold pin has been on me every time. This is my good luck piece.
And do you have any kind of Pavlov reflex action feeling that this is a place where you were so unhappy last year and you might be unhappy again?
No, I'm trying to think positively. The sun is out and my feelings are good, and my husband's here if I can find him.
Well, you'll find him perhaps on the winning stand.
Hope so.
Thank you. I think Frank Wright has moved on to our native, and he's up here. And Bob, if you'll come with me, here we are. Where, Frank, if you're here, follow me. We are coming now to sturdy our native. Come along, Bob.
Isn't he beautiful? They deserve taking your picture, Bill.
Thank you very much.
Handsome horse, Bill. He is a grand-looking animal. How are you? Nice to see you, and the best of luck to you today.
Thank you very much.
Does he always use rundowns, Bill?
Yes, he has the last couple times because he ran down just a little bit in Florida, and we've just been putting on more as a precautionary. That was all.
Just to prevent him from burning his back heels.
That's correct. Sometimes when you come to these other racetracks where he's not used to, trade show downs. We use them at trade show downs, and we also use them here today because it seems like it's a deeper racetrack than the Florida racetracks.
We saw an exciting film earlier, Bill, of the near accident in the gate in Kentucky. He shows no ill effects.
Well, we were fortunate enough that we didn't encounter any difficulties out of that. The jockey's saddle was scraped up, and I guess we're just fortunate enough that the saddle was cut, not him.
Well, good luck today. I hope no repetition. Good luck to you.
Behind me here, you'll see circling number 5, which is Torsion, one of the long shots in the field, trained by Johnny Campo, but I think someone else is saddling him today. Frank is going over to talk to the young lady who is the official of the day for the stable.
I have Mikey Ryan here with me, and Mikey, you're the first lady to ever saddle a charge in a Triple Crown race, assistant trainer to John Campo. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Do you feel that he has a chance to upset in here?
I think so, because that's why John put him in.
Well, if he does, I think Bobby Riggs will probably challenge you, so you better be ready. And the very best of luck to you, Mikey.
Thank you.
Now here's the last horse in the field, École Etage, who may not be the last horse, certainly at the 3/4 mile pole. He is circling around, and here is a large family. And here is trainer Buddy Delp, who's going to talk to Frank.
Buddy, they talk speed when they talk about you here, and I'm not asking you to commit yourself, but you certainly know this track better than any of the trainers in this race. You've run more times than any of them put together on Pimlico Race Course, and I suppose you're aware of the turns, and your strategy might be speed on the turns.
Yes, Frank. This track is a speed race track, and I have a speed horse here, and we're gonna give him a run.
They're not going to be able to loaf and get to the front, are they?
They're not going to be able to loaf the first part of it.
Well, your horse looks fine, Buddy, and I wish you the very best of luck.
Thank you very much, Frank.
Thank you.
Behind Buddy is one of the largest families here. There are 2 brothers Meyerhoff with 2 wives and lots of children. Certainly there will be more rooting than by any other group you can imagine. So you've seen the field, and pretty soon you're going to see the field running, and we give you now back for a word. Do you think, Frank, that horses always look good before a big race, but is it the sunshine or is it marvelous conditioning? They all seem to have a glow.
They do indeed, Woody. These trainers have brought them here in top shape, and all these horses are very pacific in this outdoor paddock. I think today, Woody, that the horses are subject to so much more traffic, so much more handling, that they're much more adjusted to their surroundings than horses of 10 or 25 years ago when even I started in this.
I do note that École Etage is getting a surprising amount of support. Do you suppose that's because he is locally owned or because it's fat, sharp turns or what?
Well, I think you've covered both of the situations, Woody. He is a local favorite. BBB did win the race last year, a Maryland horse, and this horse obviously is going to be allowed to take the lead, and I think there are people here that think he might steal it with that strategy.
It would be hard to steal if Secretariat breaks well, I think, is what people are thinking, if he doesn't drop back. But there is in everyone's mind, I'm sure, the image of Riva Ridge, of whom we said last year all the things we're saying of Secretariat this year, and coming lonely and covered with mud down there. He's not going to be covered with mud today, anybody. This track is fast. Is it lightning fast? Does it suggest a record?
It does, and one of the leading clockers of the country, Gene Schwartz, down here from New York, said that the track might lend itself to a track record, but he thinks the wind might be a deterring factor.
Well, what is this, a 5-mile-an-hour breeze or something? Can that make a difference?
It does, Jack. And the tiring horse running against the wind in the stretch is somewhat slowed down.
But with 6 horses, a record is hard, too, isn't it? Doesn't it require somebody, 2 horses out there and 2 horses going at them?
Well, I think, again, our friend trainer Buddy Delp might be the big factor if he would go ahead and set a torrid pace.
I think we're going to hear a marvelous call here in a moment, the sound of the bugle.
Stand right here, Nick Cody.
Get your seat back there? Yeah. That's a good place to stand right here. You don't get talking to the speaker here.
Riders are up as we look at Ron Turcotte aboard Secretariat number 3. They will move out now onto the track where the tradition has it at the Preakness. You will hear Maryland, My Maryland, today to be sung by the chorus of the Chesapeake from Dundalk, Maryland. Maryland, My Maryland, and the Preakness song. They're on the track. Sham already out, number 1. Followed there by Deadly Dream, and there is number 1, Lafitte Pincaille up. 2 teeth lighter than he was 2 weeks ago, but looking in excellent shape. Deadly Dream, number 2. A real long shot for this 1973 Preakness. Anthony Black is the jockey. And the big horse, number 3, Secretariat, in the very identifiable blue and white blocks of Meadows Stable. Ron Turcotte, the very distinctive 3 white stockings. And our native, number 4, Don Brumfield up. This is the horse that we showed you earlier in the Kentucky Derby starting gate. Got really whacked by Twice a Prince, but apparently came out of it all right. I just thought if that hadn't happened, he'd have been closer to the winners. The winner in the Derby. He would not have won it, they said, but he would have been closer, and they think he might have a chance here. My Maryland, my Maryland. The field now just making the turn after the post-parade. They're making the serpentine turn. It was at this point a few years ago that a horse named Nasker was almost flown into the sky when the band struck up at that moment. And up in the boxes looking down now, and of course very nervous, that's Lucian Lauren, the trainer of Secretariat in the red coat, and Mrs. Tweedy next to him. A marvelous story on Secretariat that some of you new racing fans might not know. But he came to the Meadows Stable by a flip of the coin. Mrs. Tweedy having sent Something Royal, the dam, to Bold Ruler. And the Phipps won the first. They won the toss of the coin and took the first of that get. And Mrs. Tweedy got the second. Well, the second one turned out to be Secretariat. And such sometimes are the fortunes in horse racing. Horses moving back up here now, breaking into a canter as they'll begin warming up. Looking down at that beautiful Secretariat, whose conformation is said to be almost perfect. Seems to be moving very well, and we'll have Frank Wright to describe that a little later. This is Sig Summer, the owner of Sham, who is, of course, very interested here today. He's very competitive and has had really some tragic luck in racing. Last year, 4 fine horses of his had to be destroyed, including the great Autobiography. And he picked up Sham, who had not won a race. He had raced 3 times and had not won. He bought him for $200,000 from Bull Hancock. And immediately the horse started to win under Pancho Martin. So there's a lot going here for Sigmund Summer today as he watches Sham take on Secretariat for the 3rd time. Now Frank Wright, somewhere on the backstretch.
Thank you, Jack. I'm over here past the half-mile pole, waiting for some of the horses to warm up. An unusual sight here. The overfull crowd has come out on the turf course, awaiting, as I am, some of the horses to appear here in their warm-ups. The horses that they're going to watch, they know the obvious reason for watching their warm-up. It's like the equine athlete and the human athlete. They must loosen up before one of their athletic endeavors. And here they come. The first in the parade of warm-ups, Ecole Etage, moving well, and chances are as a speed horse. And in order to prompt himself quickly and make an early pace, he's taken a good warm-up. Coming by me now, the handsome Sham, Lafitte Pincay in the irons with a sponge under the girth. He's now broken down into a trot. No sweat has appeared, but he's thoroughly warmed up and sound. Right behind him, Secretariat, big flashy chestnut in the sun. Ron Turcotte has settled him down to a walk. He'll turn him around momentarily with both of their lead ponies keeping him from getting out of hand. Here, right beside me, number 4, Our Native, with Don Brumfield in the saddle, and he too has settled back down. None of these horses are showing any nervousness, and they're all warming up very well. One of the things these riders will now do is check their equipment. They're put on in the paddock and at the barn, but the final check has to be made in motion. And should there be anything wrong, they'd return the horse to the starting gate for repairs. Or should it be a saddle problem, the horse would have to go back to the paddock because of the weight problem. Also, each rider, from years of experience, is subconsciously checking for soundness. Was there some late injury, undetected? Is the horse perfectly healthy and able to make the final step into the starting gate? If this feeling came to them from his way of moving, he would be taken to the starting gate and shown to Dr. Murphy, the track veterinarian here stationed at the starting gate, and he'd be given a thorough examination. The horses are now going back towards the starting gate, and I return to Jack Whittaker.
All right, Frank, thank you very much. You've been very busy here. I think you've run as far as these horses are going to run today here. Well, it's almost ready. The horse is just about to move into that starting gate. The weather is perfect, and we're just waiting for a fine horse race. CBS Sports prediction, Secretariat to be first, Sham second, and Our Native third. Exactly the order in which they finished the Kentucky Derby. And now let's go to Woody Bruin up around the starting gate.
They are now walking around up at the turn at the starting gate. It's been placed in position. Starter Eddie Blind has got so much information about these horses. He still has a letter from the trainer of Secretariat's father, Bold Ruler. That was old Sonny Jim Fitzsimmons saying, please be careful with this horse. He has a tender mouth. And the assumption is that Secretariat has inherited that tender mouth. And Dan Fitchett, who is the particular assistant trainer, is going to handle him. We'll take that into account. Naturally, Sham, who's going to be handled by Eddie Blind's nephew, Eric, has got a tender mouth because 2 teeth were knocked out of it in the Derby 2 weeks ago. So he must be handled carefully. But all the horses have been gone over by the starter. As to their personalities, how do they like to go in? Do they like to be led into that? Some of them will like to go in by themselves. Very possibly Torsion will be allowed to go in by himself. But there is an assistant starter for each one, and they are now pretty close to the back of the gate coming down. The first one you can see there is Sham, who has a stable pony with him and seems calm, considering that he was kicked and hammered. No, he was hammered, had his head hammered and lost a couple of teeth. He seems to be taking it calmly, and now you'll see that Eric Blind is taking him by the bridle and leading him in. Others are waiting in case there's any trouble. Now, Deadly Dream, one of the long shots, is going in, and the next to go in will be Secretariat, and when he does, which should be in just a moment, he likes to lean against the back of the gate, which makes him start slowly, and they'll be careful with him. And now, as Secretariat goes in, he doesn't even want to go in the gate, let alone not lean against the back of it. With 3 horses in, I'm going to give this to Chick Anderson, who'll call the race for you.
Our Native now into the gate. We're waiting for Torsion. He's in and now moving into the starting gate. We're about ready to go as a colletage will complete the field on the outside. They're all in. They all seem to be standing well. Sham straightens up a little. Secretariat bobs his head. We're still looking, and they're off for the early lead. That's Deadly Dream on the outside, a colletage. Then it's also Torsion on the outside. They're coming by us. It's a colletage getting it, and he's still moving away by about 2.5 as they pass the stands. Settling into second, Torsion. Sham has good position, third on the rail. It's another 3 lengths back, Deadly Dream. Then Our Native, and Secretariat is last again as they move into the first turn. They're into the turn. A colletage has it by 2 lengths. Torsion second by a length, and then Sham third. Sham under an easy hold right now. But here comes Secretariat. He's moving fast, and he's going to the outside. He's going for the lead, and it's right now he's looking for it. Ronnie Turcotte sends him alongside a colletage. Here we have it. A colletage is the leader, but Secretariat is right alongside. Then still further back, that is Sham now going to the outside in third. We're moving down the backstretch. Secretariat holding it by a length and a half. Here comes Sham second on the outside now. Now it's Secretariat the leader by a length and a half with Sham moving into second. And it looks like Ecole Taj has had it, dropping back in third. Coming on in fourth is our native, and he's pretty close. Torsion fifth, and a trailer way back is Deadly Dream. They're on the turn. Here's the race, folks. Secretariat trying to hold it, and Sham is driving to get him. These two are beginning to open a few lengths as our native settles into third, and he has about 3 lengths on Ecole Taj. Head of the stretch, Secretariat, 2.5. Sham under a strong left-handed whip, and he's making his run now, but it's still Secretariat holding on. Secretariat by 2 lengths. Sham driving second. There's a strong left-handed whip again by Pinkai. He goes to it time and time again, but Ronnie Turcotte has his whip put away, and Secretariat has him put away. He's beginning to draw away. It is Secretariat. He's coming to the wire. He wins it by 2.5, almost 3. Sham an easy second. Our native third. Ecole Taj fourth. Deadly Dream fifth. And Torsion is sixth. And it was a powerhouse race again by the big, strong Secretariat, who made a very, very swift move on the backstretch. Took the lead surprisingly. And here is Mrs. Tweedy, who has just won the second of 2 very important races to her. Secretariat has now won the Kentucky Derby and the Preakness Stakes, and this time he did it the same way. A tremendously effective run. Now here they are, Sham, and watch that left hand of Pinkai's, and he can really hit one. But Sham can't handle him. Ron Turcotte just looks over his shoulder and says goodbye for today. It's no race from here to the wire. Turcotte never went to the whip that I saw anyway. If it was very early in the race. He definitely did not hit him in the stretch, and he was drawing away at the wire under a hand ride, winning it by over 2 lengths, make it 2.5. Sham was also very easily second. Here's the time of the race, 1:55, and that is not a new track record. It's 1 second away from Canyon Arrows.
Well, there's the horse. It has 2 legs on the Triple Crown, and after this today, it looks like we're very close to one, Frank. I don't want to jinx anything, but what a move he made, and early.
Jack, Cusimano got caught trying to steal second. The first half mile was very, very slow, and Turcotte figured it out, and he went after him and took away that false slow lead. It would have been amazing if he'd have gotten away with it, but he didn't, and Turcotte made an early move, so it was an honest race from there on.
Then it became a question of had he enough to hold off Sham, and we know the answer to that now.
He did it handily. What a brilliant effort, and Sham had no excuse, put on a game effort that he doesn't have to be ashamed of, but I don't think he can beat this fella for a while.
Secretariat, winner of the Derby and now winner of the Preakness. Ron Turcotte, who won here on Tom Rolfe, and of course a disappointment last year on Riva Ridge in the rain, now has vindicated that at least. And we'll be talking, he'll tell us all about it here in a few moments, why he made the move and how the horse was. Of course, we know the answers to that already. The horse was great.
I think another factor in Turcotte's strategy, and he may verify it when we get to talk to him, he didn't want to be in a position of losing ground on a turn. And with the slow pace, the lead and the rails suited him to avoid that.
Well, you know, I thought that Ecole Taj was kind of a mystery. Nobody knew whether he'd go speed, but Buddy Delp rather indicated that they were going out for it, didn't they?
And his rider used his head. He didn't need it. He was in front hard held, but Ron caught him at it.
Well, all right, coming down Victory Lane now. Secretariat to get the Black-Eyed Susans, which, as you all know by this time, are daisies dyed black in the middle. And $129,000 more into the coffers. And another victory with a splendid, splendid horse, whose father, Bull Ruler, won here. And here, tossing his whip, getting a fine round of applause. We have all the Baltimore Colt band surrounding the horseshoe here. Their colors blue and white, the same as Meadow Stable. Here's Lucien Lauren leading the horse in, and a happy Lucien Lauren, a happy Ron Turcotte, and the Tweedies will be not far behind. There go the Black-Eyed Susans, and he's much calmer than he was 2 weeks ago in Kentucky when they threw the roses on him. He's just standing there now. This is Tweedy here, and this is Tweedy's sister, and Mrs. Ham, who was Mr. Chenery's secretary. Mr. Tweedy. And I don't know, Frank, would you say 2,000 photographers?
That would be a very conservative estimate, and they seem to sense greatness, Jack, don't you think? They're an enthusiastic crowd and not as well controlled as this fine thoroughbred is.
A record crowd of 61,000 here today at Pimlico for the Preakness, and a record crowd of photographers. This horse has the kind of personality that reaches out, however. He got a round of applause as he walked down to the saddling area.
You notice in the Derby, Jack, he was disturbed by the flowers, and that one experience was enough for his intelligent banner.
Very well mannered today, isn't it?
Certainly didn't bother him today.
This handler, Eddie Sweat, the handler there.
Turcotte headed for the scale, Jack.
Ron Turcotte is lost somewhere in the crowd. I believe he's going to weigh out in. Hello there! He's been up here so many times now.
That was Irvin.
4 out of the last 5 Triple Crowns, and he knows exactly what the situation is as far as our needs are concerned, Frank.
I don't think we can do a rerun without him, Jack.
So, as we await now for Ron Turcotte to come up here and do the rerun with us, we'll be back with that in just a moment. All right, it's official now. Secretariat paying $260, $220, and $210. $220 and $220 and $220. They're the prices, and here is Mr. Ron Turcotte. Official, congratulations.
Thank you very much, sir.
All right, let's take a look at it, Ryan. A couple of questions. I think they're rather obvious about the pace and where you moved, etc., but let you tell it.
Well,
we're going to look at Secretariat for
point to go around so many horses around the first turn while I was on the rail, but the pace was slow. My horse was running.
You got off all right, Ron.
Oh, he got off real good, yeah.
And you let him settle down.
Right.
Now, I made the comment
the track seems to be given on the rim the first couple of jumps.
I noticed that.
Yeah, so that's why I just took it easy with him. But right now, see, he's trying to run right now, and I'm just waiting. I don't want to drive up on the inside, so I just head behind them. But see, you can see the hole I got on him now. That's why I wheel him out. I said, well, might as well go by them here because he's galloping easy, you know.
I noticed there was an abnormally slow early pace, and you must have sensed that, didn't you, Ron?
Oh, yeah, they were going real slow. See, you can see the way he's running off on his own there. I want to slow him down a little bit, but he was determined to go on, and so I figure, well, he's won in the lead before, and if that's the way he wants to do it, I guess I ain't going to argue with him. He's too big.
Was he well in hand here, would you say, Ron?
Oh, yeah, very well in hand.
You must have been confident here. Now, Cusimano's trying to let out a little horse and stay up with you, but it's to no avail. And now, Sham, there comes your contender.
Yes, well, I wasn't looking for any horse, and I wasn't... I just was riding my horse the way I could get the best run out of him, and that was it. And
you were saving ground on the turn here, not
right.
being in front. We didn't have that problem.
Yeah, well, I had to compensate the last turn for the first.
Even it up, Ronnie, huh?
Right.
Now we see Pinkai has obviously got to commit himself. If he's going to catch you, he had to move here, and you'll see what you couldn't see facing forward. Ron, he put on a powerful left-hand ride and made an earnest effort as the horse did, but they couldn't
the horse
close
is a really good horse, and Pink is a hell of a rider, and I know he knew what he was doing there.
He moved at you. He moved at you here, and he moved both of them.
I was going pretty good there. I didn't even turn my stick up. I didn't.
You never caught your stick.
No, I didn't think so. My horse is running real big, and I was satisfied with that.
What a brilliant effort, Ron, and a fine ride, and congratulations.
Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you very much, Ron Turcotte. Marvelous. And now, ladies and gentlemen, Vice President of Pimlico, Mr. Nathan Cohen.
Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the Pimlico Race Course, I want to thank each of you for being a part of the record 98th Preakness. At this time, I would like to introduce the Honorable Marvin Mandel, Governor of the state of Maryland, who will present the Woodlawn vase to Mrs. John Tweedy, owner of a truly great horse.
Miss Tweedy, on behalf of the state of Maryland, I'd like to present this vase to you from the Pimlico racetrack. A truly great day, a great race, and a great horse, and a great sportsman. I congratulate you, and we present to you this trophy for victory in the Preakness race. And congratulations to you, Ron, and to you, Mr. Ruth. Congratulations. Just hold it up. Now, you step around here so they can see you, too.
All right. Okay. Get in here. All right.
It's a great thrill. Isn't it?
I'm still shaking. You can feel it, can't you? That's only 2 of them. What's that song? One More River?
All right, the presentation's going on now. Let's go to the jockey terrace now to Chick Anderson.
I'm standing with Lafitte Pinkai Jr., a terrific race rider who rode a great horse again today, but unfortunately Lafitte, the same result. Today it was turned around a bit, though. In the Kentucky Derby, you went to the lead, and Secretariat caught you. Today, he went to the lead, and you tried to catch him. Did you think at any point that you were going to really get to him?
Well, yes, at the 3A pole, my horse was running pretty strong, and I haven't really asked him to run yet, and I thought I had a chance to beat him. But as it turned out in the stretch, I kept hitting my horse left-handed and kept looking at Turcotte, and he looks like he never even cocked his stick. And I mean, my horse run is a powerful race, but I just he couldn't gain no ground on the other horse, you know.
How about a mile and a half, Lafitte? Do you think your horse will go a mile and a half?
Yeah, my horse is the type of horse that he could go any distance. I don't know he can be the other horse, but my horse, he tries, you know. I mean, I don't know how to put it.
He's a fine horse.
That's right. He's really
well, we'll
good.
see you in the Belmont Stakes, and hopefully another shot for you to try the big horse.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, thanks to Lafitte Pinkai. Here's Jack Whitaker.
Thank you, and we have a family group here. A portrait, a very happy one, Mr. and Mrs. Tweedy, and again, for the umpteenth time, congratulations, really.
Very much. Great day.
Lucian?
Oh, I think it's one of the nicest days of my life again for the second time, because I never won it before, and I was here, like I said, 3 times before, and I don't know. I made a statement, kid, and if I didn't win this one, I wouldn't come back. No, I'm ready to come back, and I hope I have another horse that can run as good as this one.
Well, he certainly ran. Frank?
Lucian, I mentioned to your rider, and I chatted with Mrs. Tweedy here a moment, that was a false pace, and your rider caught on to it, and it shows how versatile this horse is. He can move early if there's no pace, or wait if there is a pace.
That is correct, Frankie. He knew he used very good judgment, and he had a handful of horses, and they were very slow the first part of it, so he just kept on moving with him, which was a nice thing to do, and he went to the lead very easy, and we stayed there.
I feel vicarious pride. I think it's a great job all of you have done, Mrs. Tweedy, and you must be proud of your team.
Oh, I really am. I can't say enough for where's Ronnie?
He's going to...
But Lucian has done a marvelous job, but that horse, oh boy.
He's something to be proud of, Mrs. Tweedy. He's a beauty.
You remember what you called on the coin toss, heads or tails?
I don't remember.
Whatever it was the right one, wasn't it?
I think we called tails.
Tails?
Yeah, and heads won. So that's why we got the horse.
And tails is all they get to see of this horse anymore, Lucian. That's appropriate.
Very good. He didn't pay much, did he?
100 and some thousand.
Thank you very much, and we'll see you up at Belmont, I'm sure, won't we? Thank you very much. Above us here, they're painting on this year the famed blue and white blocks of Meadows Stable, and it will stay there for another year. Here's the order of finish for this running of the Preakness. Secretariat, Sham second, our native third, just the way they were in the Derby. Then it was a Coleytage, Deadly Dream, and Torsion was sixth. The Secretariat has 2 of the 3 legs of the 1973 Triple Crown. We wish to thank Herman Cohen, Ben Cohen, Nathan Cohen, and Chick Lang of Pimlico Racetrack for their cooperation. And a special thanks to Joe Hirsch of the Daily Racing Form. And in 3 weeks, we invite you to join us for the Belmont Stakes to see if this big one can do it and become the first Triple Crown winner since citation. This is Jack Whitaker with Haywood Hale Bruin, Chick Anderson, and Frank Wright saying goodbye from Pimlico Racetrack in Baltimore, Maryland.